they're going to be wanting to do things that you can work together in that way. So it's bringing activated people in the community together because there's a public space.
One of the services that I think is really valuable is giving people who haven't previously felt like they fit into society or have a role in society an opportunity to participate and gain self-confidence through bringing whatever skill set they have to the table, and all those pooled skill sets coming together to create something that you couldn't create on your own. And I think that kind of magnifies people's self-worth and leads to all the things that we're looking for.
No, I pass.
One service, I guess you can think of it as a service, is I think just setting up a parallel legal structure where it is understood that the laws that have been handed to us are corrupt and were created democratically, and like they have no legitimacy with us, and we're creating our own sovereignty, and we're creating our own value system and our own legal system, and I think we should be doing that with a conscious recognition of the things in our legal system that are failing the most, like the drug war, like the military-industrial complex, things like this, and just be like, these things most especially we are actively rebelling against, and those laws don't apply here.
Yeah, I think one service that an occupation should have is that it should provide backing for already existing struggles. I mean, a lot of people in Salt Lake already know what their struggle is. They just don't know how to move on from that, how to get the support they need, and how to win. And I think one of the disservices that we did in Occupy at Pioneer Park was I think we really disserviced the homeless community there by our general attitude towards the occupation. I mean, just to think that even the word occupation meaning that we were taking that space as ours, but I mean there were people already there that was their home, that was their occupation. I mean, I think our next step, when we take our next step, we should think of occupying places that are more open and not already occupied. And I think also another disservice that we did was the general police presence, calling the police, and I think just the general attitude towards the police was just, I don't know, I just didn't like it at all.
I would say Occupy serves as a place for education, I'd say that Occupy serves as a place for education, education about what's going on and all that.
Yeah, building up what education over here, I think free school is a really, really important service. I mean, without having a space for free school to educate the occupiers, let alone the community at large, I think that's really, really important. As important as the physical occupation itself.
I completely agree with that because skills training is the cornerstone of empowerment. It's what makes people capable and confident. So we definitely need to emphasize that in any new space that we can.
Anybody who hasn't spoken yet that would like to speak? Jake.
Yeah, I agree that education is empowering, but I think we need to talk about empowering to do what? What are we empowering for? I mean, are we just empowering for the sake of empowering people? Or are we empowering people to, dismantle the oppressive system that is in existence?
I agree with you, Jake, and I think one of the ways that can be extended is empowering us along certain lines and developing a conversation about tactical choices and about having an open, frank, first educating ourselves to a level where we can have a discussion about tactical choices, but what our actions are going to look like, and what the range we want to engage in, but then actually developing the skills to engage in them that's sort of what Isaac's speaking to too. And then, honestly, empowering ourselves and building a structure where we can engage them. And it's not just the skills, but we actually have that backing. We go, I know I can rely on my community to follow up on this side of the bargain because I'm going to do this. And building that collective trust, employing those skills, and having an understanding of what we're doing. I think those are the three components that I think the service that Occupy can provide and has provided in other places and has at times provided here. But that's something we could focus on more.
So I think if you're talking about services, kind of going off what Mike was saying with building community networks and everything like that, if the idea is that you've built this kind of base community, I think something that's important for that community to start focusing on is, okay, how do we provide services that communities generally provide for each other? How do we provide things like childcare? How do we provide things like elderly care? How do we provide things like food assistance? If you really want to truly be taking over the model of the state and what it's doing, but in a non-oppressive state-like formation, there are things like that the state does do, like it provides welfare, it provides education, but it also provides family services as well. And so I think that those things need to be, how can we get kids active? How can we make sure that if let's hope that capitalism fails, that we still have this network that we can supply each other with the resources that are necessary to be able to live. And so I think that those are really good resources to be focusing on. Looking at what communities generally give to each other. Look at what the Mormon Church provides. They provide a lot of services that are really empowering and important to communities. But unfortunately, they provide them through a denomination that they expect you to live by and follow. That is very inclusive and inclusive and that is very narrow-minded and unaccepting.